Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Loring and I'm here to do a tarot card reading for Saturday, January 7th. I'm going to use the Herbal Tarot deck by Tierra and Candis, Cantin. I haven't used this one and actually I haven't used it a lot. I almost picked it yesterday. But I was being called to take and work with this one today. How did the reading sit with you yesterday? I continued to meditate on it, and if you've watched my videos of my readings in the past, I've said that and any reader would probably sit with that. It's as much for us as it is for anybody else. We're part of the collective, and yeah, I got, I had some really interesting, in-depth, just taking out a few of the kind of like Joker cards, so to speak. Really seeing that progression during the day of feeling, that you don't really know what's going on and there's more information. And that's what it is. And I was listening to a podcast earlier in the week. Her name is Robbie Hunt. She's an astrologer. She's a metaphysical minister, Christian minister, metaphysical Christian minister. And she was talking a lot about how we don't allow ourselves to be beginners. So, for instance, no matter how long I've been reading the tarot, like I expressed in the video I made last night, how, I was really nervous. I've been reading tarot for years, but I'm kind of back at square one. And society and art, we're conditioned to not want to be a beginner. But that's what that Three of Pentacles was about. There is more information. There's always going to be some new information. And that Nine of Wands person is, sometimes it's, that darkest before the dawn. So a lot of darkness around her, candles lit. She was kind of keeping vigil for, holding space for becoming in more of mastery. But even though you're moving to a place of mastery with whatever you do, be it, on the material plane or in any way, shape, or form. You always kind of feel like, you saw that Eight of Pentacles woman, she was in kind of rags. And we never feel like we're good enough. But the reality is we are getting better. And if we can open ourselves to always being in that beginner's mind, in that beginner's place, rather than expecting ourselves to be experts straight out the gate, the work does need to be done. Can we do it with joy rather than those weird expressions on that couple's face? She was checked out and just kind of like a zombie, like really focused on her pentacles. And he was like, not really working with a whole lot of joy, it seemed. But that bird coming in is kind of like Holy Spirit coming in and, reviving that and helping us move back into, help us move into back to the commitments that we made at whatever point, and imbuing it with this passion, kind of like me coming back to reading, for instance, imbuing it with this passion. Are we going to do our stuff with like a, begrudgingly, or are we going to do it with this, more joyful, more, do it with spiritual growth? Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that reading. But I think it's a good carryover. Today I'm redoing this reading on January 6th for January 7th. But we just had a full moon this evening. And, depending on where you are in the world, we just had a full moon. And it is about emotional mastery and igniting our passions. Taking forward all that we learned from 2022 into 2023, no matter how you feel about that. Oh, we already have a card flipping. The Star. Card of hopes, wishes, dreams. This is an Aquarian card. I had a friend who commented on had sent me something in a direct message on Instagram about, it was actually, she sent it to me some while ago. Like I said, I haven't been on socials for a really long time, so I just saw it today. And it was a thing in NPR about about how Tierra really is a reflection. It's an opportunity for, it's just another doorway of self-reflection. We all have different ways of doing self-reflection. This is a way of meditating and using imagery and cards and symbols to help us, in our self-reflective journey. Another person said that they've been doing a lot of soul work lately, a lot of introspection, and really working on themselves. And this is one of the ways that helps us get there. So the herb here is skullcap, and I'm going to be referencing the book for this that comes with this deck, so we know what the herbal, meaning is in terms of the star card. I'm actually going to bring this down here so you can, see the deck, see the cards there. So the star card, again, another major arcana, as I expressed in the last video. The major arcanas they're big, they're these larger themes, these more archetypal type of themes, whereas in the minor arcana, they're more of the day-to-day kind of activities. These are more like larger life situations. The star card is the card of Aquarius. And another thing that my Aquarian friends said, shout out to Jessica, that we are moving into the Aquarian age, and Pluto's still moving out of Capricorn and into Aquarius, and once Pluto really, and that's going to be going on for it'll go back and forth between Capricorn and moving into Aquarius, fully moving into Aquarius, I think in 2025. And at that point, we can really say we're kind of in the not just kind of, but in the Aquarian age once Pluto makes that move. It'll be the last of the big players to do that. After all of the upheaval we've had over the past couple of years, we've really felt that change. But any change in bringing us into any age is going to bring us. However, I digress. So the star card is about hopes, wishes, and dreams. It is about being in both, Aquarius is the water bearer. It's about being in, what's the vibe that we're doing? Can we raise our eyes? Can we look into the heavens rather than, just like that guy in the Three of Pentacles yesterday, just, looking down, like really just up doing them and being really sucked into the minutia. So instead, can we, elevate our dreams and ignite those passions, bring that fire, that Nine of Wands fire, into the places where we're going to be going. I'm interested to see what skullcap is. I'm trying to also get better. One part of my master's program is to learn more about herbal medicine. So yeah, maybe that's kind of why I'm picking this deck. But for the messages for Saturday, September, oh wow. We got another major arcana. Second card to come out is the Lovers. Interesting. And parsley. I just bought some parsley at the grocery store. So the Lovers is, relationships between two people. Be they, I love that this card isn't, well, no, that definitely is a woman. Regardless, this is a relationship between, I talked yesterday about, bringing the divine, masculine and the divine feminine together. And here it is our central card. And I was reading the book of Genesis in the Bible yesterday, and it was all talking about, this Adam and Eve thing. And I was kind of just reading that and, going back to that time of innocence and a time when, the divine masculine and the divine feminine were more interwoven and working together. So it's interesting. And here's our third and fourth. Two cards came out with that. And the bottom of the deck is the Death card, Elderflowers. So we've got a lot of major arcana. These are two major arcana cards. And we've got, the Nine of Wands again is here, along with the Seven of Wands, Wild Ginger and Bayberry Bark. Interesting. Okay. So the star card is that card of, hopes, wishes, and dreams. We're moving forward with that. We're looking into the stars. There is success. We have, this is spiritual success. This is being in touch with spirit and with there's, in the traditional tarot there, the person usually has one foot in the water and one foot on land, and that person is pouring water it's taking water and pouring it into the water. So it is about flow. It's being with the flow. So I'm going to read about skull caps so we have a little better understanding about how that ties in. I'm really intrigued. Lobelia. No, we're not. Oh, skull cap. Okay. Skull cap calms the mind and heart and prepares the way for meditation. And she is in a very meditative place. A nervine and an alterative, it relaxes the nerves and counteracts addictions. Aquarius ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is the old ruler of Aquarius, and Uranus is its current ruler. Uranus is currently in the sign of Taurus. And so, this is, we are using our meditation in order to raise our vibration, to take stock of what it is, where we want to take our hopes, our wishes, our dreams, how to infuse more passion and taking a step back and to create that balance. The star card is about balance. It's about, and part of the glyph of Aquarius, if you look at it, it's the water bearer, and it's these two squiggly lines. So it's vibes. The only way we can be in our highest vibration is if we are actively doing things that take care of ourselves, such as meditate. It can be meditation of any sort, any kind of thing that you want. You take that step back and you take that higher perspective, that star perspective, in order to access that stardust that is within each and every person's bones. You do know that, right? You are made of stardust. We have to actually come into that in order to access that divine self, which again is that better relationship with the divine, as we talked about in yesterday's reading. We can only access that place of divinity within ourselves if we're taking a step back. We can't always be, actively out there, even though the Aquarius is about networking on a very external level, always having lots of friends. There's a detached, if an Aquarius, they do it with a very detached kind of way. They don't, some people kind of consider them emotionally cold, but really they just have a more detached perspective, which is actually healthy. We can't be codependent and be healthy. We need to be interdependent, which is, again, balancing out that masculine and feminine. So the Lover's card is also, it's a card of Gemini, and Mars is in retrograde in Gemini, about to go direct. He's been in Gemini for good night, I think, since October, maybe September. I said September. So he's still in Gemini. He's about to go direct, and he'll continue going direct, and he will not come out of the sign of Gemini until March. The middle of March. And, and so that card of Gemini, there is a motivation. Mars is a motivation. It's the divine masculine, the masculine impulse, and any kind of, it's our fire, our drive. Again, that 9, that Wands is here. We've got 2 Wands cards here. So there is a lot of drive to, again, defend what we've been, what we've built. He's got all of his wands in an obvious fence, not even a circle, like a fence. There's a real boundary there. And creating boundaries is actually is a healthy way. We have to have healthy boundaries in order to have healthy relationships. We need to know where we stand, and it doesn't have to be in a super defensive posture. I don't see him being, he's actually sitting down. So was the woman in the card for yesterday's reading. She was also sitting down. She wasn't standing up, where, the 7 of Wands tends to be even a little more, you really feel like you have to stand up for what is right. And it's not as advanced as the Nine of Wands. And the Nine of Wands, you know what's up, and you don't even have to stand up and do it. You can defend what you're doing, and you can sit comfortably in the space where you are, and all of your actions can come from that space. All of your reactions are more of a response rather than this kind of, a little bit of a lack of surety. But seven is actually a number of of um, of spirit. So if we access spirit, if we take that time to sit down, so he's so comfortable that he knows what he's built, he can sit down and get back in touch with self, and that's where we are able to understand what are healthy boundaries and what are just being defensive in order to be, we don't need to be abrasively or aggressively defensive. There's definitely a more of an aggressive stance. He's even holding his wand in front of him in a way that says I'm not so sure of my beliefs, and that we talked about that a little bit in yesterday's reading. We need to be sure of our beliefs, and the only way that we can do that is if we do take the time to step back and examine our beliefs in a very healthy and detached way, to create this relationship within ourselves, back to that creating it with the divine. So we have two different energies here of a major arcana. This is a major need to do this. We have got to do this in our lives in order to put our lives on a path of flow and in a path of higher vibrations. So again, those squiggly lines of the Aquarian glyph are sound vibrations. They're not water. A lot of people think Aqua, the water bearer, that they're actually a water sign. It's not. It's an air sign. This is actually our thoughts. So coming back to Mars being in Gemini, Gemini is about our thoughts. It's about our thought processes, and especially on a day-to-day basis, how we, in our daily interactions, at a pretty fundamental level, how we communicate. And we're going to obviously communicate better and more in line with our hearts, and this card, by the way, is also, the Lover's card is also a card of Gemini as well. And we're going to be able to communicate better. Our thoughts will be, and our emotions will be more in line. We will be coming from a more heart-centered place in our communications, in our dealings, in our thoughts. We'll be able to take, it's important to take that step back in order to create what our response is, and not just react. That reading yesterday showed that we're, yes, we're still learning about that stuff, but we have a humility, and that woman in her torn and tattered gown, she had a sense of humility and humbleness about her, and and putting herself to the task with a serenity that was certainly not present in the Three of Pentacles. She was had a humility about it. She's able to come toward her work, whatever that is, on the material plane, be it relationships, her health, in a realistic and way that says, I'm here to do the work on an everyday basis. Again, there's a humility, there's a graciousness about that. There's a grace here. This relationship here is graced by God. The stars are here. This is graced by God, God's spirit, whatever that means for you. If God it puts you off, just whatever higher power, whatever is a higher perspective, this thing is graced by something bigger than us, this relationship. And, although it shows a man and a woman in this card, it can be a partnership of any kind. And honestly, I think it's more a partnership with yourself than anything else. At the bottom of the deck, we did have the Death card. And but again, this is another major arcana. And the Death card is, it's a card of transformation. It's a card of transformation, of recognizing that there are parts of us, parts of our relationships on every single level, be it in work, be it with ourselves, be it with, those closest to us. There are people in our lives anymore. There are not people in our lives anymore. There are situations have faded away. All kinds of things have happened, and there has been a death, and we will continue to see that, but we're able to do it from a place of stability, or be able to be in that place again of learning to be comfortable with the instability, learning to be comfortable with the changes, learning to be able to be comfortable with the changes by remembering to take that step back in order to create a transformation. And what is, a sun behind this Grim Reaper figure is, there is sun on the horizon. We know that by now. Now, the other things I didn't read about was parsley, which is, and I almost feel like I don't need to go too much into that, but I do want to, I guess, just so we know a little bit about what that means. Parsley. The root of parsley is considered aphrodisiac, and it counteracts impotence. Both the leaves and the root are used as a diuretic and a digestant. And again, Gemini ruled by Mercury. Mercury's in retrograde. So there again, Mercury's in retrograde. So although Mars is in that, Mars is in Mercury and in Gemini, Mercury's and Mercury's normal rulership, Mercury's in retrograde. So we are actively, we're motivated to change our thought processes, to give ourselves space and time in order to create these transformations. Symbolically used for lack of love and attraction for others, self-centeredness, its tendency to anger and stress, and thus urinary tract infections. Let's see. Bayberry bark. I'm not going to go into it because actually, what I want to do is I want to pull from one other deck. This is the Archangel Michael deck. This one also called to me. So Archangel Michael, what is the commentary? Yeah, all of a sudden I'm feeling, nope, don't need to go into all of that. But I am glad we looked at parsley. Oh, Archangel Michael. Honor and trust your feelings. Again, trust. This is that sense of trust in self. This is a reminder. These guys came out together because this is a reminder that we don't need to be so defensive about our what we stand for. We can be in a place of more grace, of relaxation, of ease. So from Archangel Michael, honor and trust your feelings. My prayer, thank you, Archangel Michael, for supporting, guiding, and protecting me as I listen to and act upon my feelings. Again, feelings, not thoughts, feelings. Help me understand and express my emotions with love. So communications, expressing the emotions with love. Making our expressions come from the heart. And I will read from the deck for this. So honor and trust your, the book, because they have a little more going on. So Archangel Michael urges you to look inward and listen, for this card is a sign that your feelings are accurately tuned into the truth. Some of these feelings may be uncomfortable to face, yet they're with you for an important reason. If you're conflicted, sit down with a pen and paper. Messages. Wands can also be messages. If you're conflicted, sit down with pen and paper and conduct an interview with your emotional self by asking, what are you feeling? Why? What would you like me to do? A very loving thing, a very meditative action. Your feelings will speak loudly and clearly if you keep an open mind and trust what you hear. Respect your inner voice as the powerful life force that connects you to the divine. Often God and the angels answer your prayers and offer you guidance through your physical and emotional feelings. If you say, oh, it's just a feeling, you're ignoring vital divine assistance. This card reminds you to listen, really listen to your feelings. Possible specific meanings. It's time to admit that you're unhappy in a certain situation and to take appropriate corrective action. Someone's trying to talk you out of feeling a certain way. Stick to what you know and feel as your barometer. So, again, defending yourself, knowing what you feel, but we don't have to do it aggressively. And again, the prayer was, thank you, Archangel Michael, for supporting, guiding, and protecting me as I listen to and act upon my feelings. Help me understand and express my emotions with love. And I love that. So I just want to say one more thing, was that all day long, one of the things I wanted to remember to mention to you, and I'm now remembering, is that it is important to listen to one's feelings. It's really important. When you get that kind of ping to, do or not do something, listen to it and follow through. Even if it's something dumb like, oh, I'm going to eat grapefruit. Oh, wait, no, maybe I don't want grapefruit. I don't know why grapefruit came up, but there we are. So, you know, I'm telling you, start to follow those instincts, because that's you standing up for yourself. And it's not involving anybody else but yourself. But at the end of the day, you're the most important person in the room. Because if you can't if you abandon yourself constantly, how can you be with anybody else? It's hard to have anything but a codependent relationship with anything. Food, social media, with anything, with the plant next to you. So listen to and following through. It doesn't mean it's not the end of the world. Standing up for ourselves, it can feel awkward. It can feel awkward. But we can learn to do it with, so what starts out as awkward, as you get better at it, can be more serene. We can do it with more serenity and grace. That was the reading yesterday. And then we have these good relationships. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. That's enough. This is a good time, 25 minutes. All right. And I thank you. I will get this posted, and I'm going to be putting something up on Patreon. I'm working out the details, but I think I'm going to do something like a once a week, like group reading, where you can where you can ask your questions, and I'll do a little mini reading for everybody, per like one question. And then I'll do other tiers where you get a personal reading once a month. And then maybe one where I do like a mentoring kind of thing. So that came to me, anyway, there we are. But I'll give some details about that when I pull it together. All right. I love you guys. Have a great Saturday.